Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Harrison Brinker Show, episode 19. That's a fun one. I remember being 19. I learned how to drive stick shift, and that's pretty much all. This is going to be an exciting episode, but you know what else is exciting? You guys see that Rebel Wilson just got married to a woman? I had no idea that Rebel Wilson was a lesbian. There's not really even a joke here. I'm just surprised. But the only thing I can think is she went away in secret and lost a lot of weight and inspired a lot of women to lose weight. Good for her, good for them. I am kind of hoping that the women that were inspired by her kind of stop it there. I'm not sure I want a bunch of newly in shape cute girls all becoming lesbians before I get to say hello to them. Anyway, moving on. I complain a lot in this episode talking about people that grow up and still think they're children. I unearth a whole conspiracy going on in the OnlyFans community with fake faces and fake boobs and these women that are scamming you, basically. Then, of course, Colin Blair, yes, Colin Blair joins, and we play a good round of Would You Rather. So if you're excited for that, stick around. If not, stick around and put it on mute. I don't care. I'll see you guys all in about 3 seconds. Everybody, welcome to episode 19 of the Harrison Brinker Show. I hope you're bored, but I hope you're ready to be rejuvenated and not bored. I gave you about a week since the last episode came out, and now I've returned. Can you tell that I'm sick? My roommate was sick about a week ago, and I kind of just left him alone. I knew he said he wasn't feeling well, so every time I'd come home from work, I'd sprint right up to my room, make myself dinner, lock myself in my room, and stay away from him. But my other roommate asked me if I could drive him to the airport last week, and I did. I was nice, and I did. But I got home from the airport, and I could start feeling a little scratchiness on the roof of my mouth. And I used to get nasal infections or sinus infections or whatever word makes it sound cooler, less lame. Sinus infection, for whatever reason, I think sounds like a little cooler bit of an infection. I could feel a sinus infection coming on, and throughout my whole life, like once a month, guaranteed I've gotten a sinus infection. Up until moving out here to Utah, I think the dry air has helped. But my point is I get sinus infections a lot. I've gotten them enough to know exactly when I can tell they're coming on. Like it only takes 1% of a sinus infection to take its place in my mouth for me to go, yep, next week's shot. Next week's all shot. Because this is how it goes. I can feel it coming on, then that night I have a terrible time sleeping. I wake up, can't swallow. So it's just hard swallowing all day. And I love to drink water and eat food, so that's a big pain in the ass when I can't swallow. The next day, that kind of goes away. The swallowing is getting better, but now my nose is all runny and, congested, which is disgusting. And then that goes away after a couple days, but then here comes the sore throat. And right now we're in the sore throat phase. My point is, as soon as I felt that first % of the sinus infection, I knew I was going to be out of commission. So I broke my sobriety. I had that bottle of whiskey I had on my desk a couple weeks ago. I drank that almost in its entirety to try to get rid of the infection. And you know what? The next morning I woke up and the infection was gone. But the hangover arrived and I laid in bed for an entire day. Luckily, I don't work on the weekdays, so I sat in bed all day Wednesday and I had no obligation to be anywhere. I felt lazy, but I'd rather be lazy than standing up and running around and throwing up. So I laid in bed all day, and it was kind of I hadn't drank in over a month at that point. So then getting back into the swing of things of alcohol, that really hit me like a ton of bricks. And I mean, I drank an entire bottle of whiskey almost. So I think anyone doing that, even a experienced alcoholic, would have a hard time doing that. And it really did. It almost killed me. Whatever, it got rid of the sinus infection, and I can deal with a runny nose, but not being able to swallow really chaps my ass, so I don't mind trading it in for a hangover. Anyway, but yeah, so then afterwards, I was talking to my roommate, like, hey, what were your symptoms? Secretly, like, I have a feeling that you got me sick, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. What are your symptoms? Maybe they were different. And he listed the same exact ones that I had, so I'm like, well, there's no question here that you got me sick. Thank you. But I hadn't seen him a lot. So it was surprising to me that he would have gotten me sick because I haven't interacted with him. The only roommate I interacted with was when I drove my other one to the airport, and he mentioned the first roommate. I'm not giving their names here. The first roommate said, "Oh yeah, roommate number 2 that you drove to the airport." He said he was feeling sick right before he left. Well, that's nice. Thanks for keeping me in the loop there. You wanted to tell each other that you guys were both sick and had gotten each other sick, but no one wanted to mention to the guy that was going to be trapped in a car with one for 2 hours, like, hey, by the way, I'm really feeling gross. I'm under the weather. At the very least, I would have cracked a window. I understand, I owed him a favor. I decided to do him a favor. I'm not going to not drive him to the airport just because he's sick. But it would have certainly been nice to know, hey, by the way, you know how we're going to be trapped in a car together with the windows rolled up? I feel like garbage. I would have cracked the window, or at least made him sit in the back, or with a gas mask on or something. Hey, can you do one of these? Pretend that I just ripped the big fat one. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know why that wouldn't be something to mention. Of course, I get sick. I lock myself in my room and don't talk to anyone for 2 days. But no, if other people feel sick, yeah, drive me to the airport. Let's all kiss on the lips and whatever. It's not, that's just what happens when you live with other people. Not really. Not really. I've lived with other people a lot. When they get sick, they're nice enough to hide from everybody else. They don't go on trips with me. And whatever, I can deal with being sick. I live on my own. I don't interact with a bunch of other people in real life, so I don't really care. I don't feel bad that I'm sick. My problem, though, is, first of all, this past weekend, I was sick the entire time, and it was my last weekend at work. So I would have enjoyed being able to sit and talk and laugh and cough on people without feeling guilty about giving them the coronavirus. But I just had to kind of suffer in silence on my last week of work, all alone, and just was like, I'd love to chat. I'd love to talk about all my memories here, but I really shouldn't because I don't want to get you, have a sinus infection or whatever. I've been drinking tea and spraying throat spray in my mouth for the last couple of days just to help get over this. Now that I've quit my job, I don't really care if I lay in bed and I'm sick. In fact, on the show, it gives me a cooler low voice without even having to try. But I'm going to the reason I'm annoyed and I better be fine by the end of the week is because I'm going to Las Vegas again on Thursday. I'm recording this Monday. So I better be good by Thursday because that's Skankfest, everybody. Of course, by the time this comes out, it'll be over. But I'm going to Skankfest this year to see my favorite comedians, Mr. Mark Normand, hey, Shane Gillis, Tim Dillon, all the guys, all the crew. Going down to Las Vegas, and I'll be there for 3 days, meeting and greeting and rubbing elbows with these guys who I look up to. And if I'm sick, I'm going to kill everybody I love because somebody decided to lock themselves in a car with me for 2 hours and not be like, hey, by the way, I'm not feeling well. Can you believe that? Is that normal for people to do? Hey, I'm sick. I'm just going to ask, you know what I mean? This guy feels sick. Asked me to drive him to the airport. Doesn't tell me that he's sick. I wouldn't do that. I don't know any sane person that would. I think that's a crazy move. Anyway, yeah, so I quit my job. Eventually, I'll give you all the inside details of what I did there and all the secrets I learned about making bullets. But for right now, let's just enjoy my first day off. My first day of retirement. I'm really not going to be able to enjoy it. I only work on the weekends, and next weekend I'm going to Skankfest, so it won't really hit me until 2 weekends from now when I can finally watch a football game live. Because I haven't been able to do that in over a year or almost a year. So that's when it'll hit me oh yeah, I haven't watched a Bills game live in almost a year. Just kidding. I watched one 2 weeks ago. They played on Thursday. They beat the Dolphins. What else is here? Yeah, I drank in bed. I was in bed all day. I'm sick. I'm going to Skankfest. I quit my job. Oh, Logan Guyman came to visit me yesterday. He's the guy that wiped his ass with a toilet paper roll. He was here visiting yesterday. He wasn't visiting me. He was visiting some landmarks in Las Vegas and Utah, and he decided to get me dinner, and that was very nice of him. I missed him. The last thing here, I was on Facebook yesterday, and I saw, it was a memory of a post that I made, I guess, 10 years ago. It was 6th grade, and it just said, 20 likes, and I'll do something funny, and I saw there was only 3 likes on the post, which is a shame. But I clicked on it to see who had liked it, and it was a couple people who I knew, and then one girl who I had forgotten about. It was this girl that I was in middle school with. I wasn't really her friend, but I guess we were friends on Facebook. And I was like, yeah, what's she up to? So I clicked on it. Holy crap, she got fat. Do you guys have friends like that, or just people that were this girl was skinny in high school, but even if she wasn't skinny, she got gigantic. Do you know anybody like that? Isn't that crazy? Of course, I'm not like, oh, do you know fat people? Stay away from them. No. But it's definitely different. Like when you know someone who's, you can tell like that person is going to be fat in a couple of years. And someone who you don't even think twice about, and all of a sudden they're a blimp. Right? Isn't that crazy? And it is gross. Let's not lie. It's gross because it's like, oh, this person has no self-discipline and she wasn't supposed to be fat, but now she is. That's a shame. Whatever. I mean, she's still human, but the reason it's funny to laugh at fat people is because you go, haha, that could never be me. I know my own limits. I don't stuff my face. And it's like the frog boiling thing. Like, was it, or whatever. Here's the frog boiling thing. If you drop a frog in a pot of boiling water, it'll hop right out, right? But if you put a frog in cold water and then turn the heat up until it's boiling, the frog won't realize that it's boiling, and then it croaks. Is that what's happening with these people that are getting fat that you knew in high school? Are they just going into the mirror every day and not realizing that they're fatter than yesterday, even though they'd realized they were definitely fatter than 5 years ago? Or what's happening? Are you aware that you're huge now? You must be. You're trying to wear a concert shirt from 2019 and you look like the Incredible Hulk. It's ripping at the seams. You must know you're huge. So what's the deal with that? It was easy to get fat. It's not that hard to get skinny again. Just, I don't know, stop eating. Anyway, that will come off as sexist because I mentioned it was a girl. But don't worry, guys. I think fat guys are gross too. And that's all. So, yeah, pretty much I'm sick and I'm tired. And you know what I'm sick and tired of? Kids who grow up to be adults and those adults that still think they're kids. So let's talk about them, shall we?
Taste of your own medicine, doctor? Oh, crap! Adam Sandler! Ha ha ha. You're really scared of Adam Sandler?
When I was a kid, I couldn't wait to be an adult. And now that I'm an adult, I really wish I was a kid. Just kidding. You know how great it is to be grown up? You can literally do everything you want. And then people said, no. I mean, you think you can do everything you want, but it's just an illusion. You got to go to work. You got to pay your bills. You could really do everything you want when you were a kid. You had no responsibility. Really? Go to the liquor store and send a 6-year-old in there and say, hey, buy me everything. You can't do that. It's illegal. I can do that on my own. I have an ID. I can do whatever I want. I can quit my job whenever I want. In fact, I've quit 2 jobs in the last month, and I've never felt better. Kids aren't allowed to buy anything they want. They're not allowed to. They actually don't have any of their own money. It's usually money they steal out of their parents' wallet, like I did as a kid. My dad had a big coin collection. I used to reach in there and just steal all the quarters out. That's how I made most of my money before I had my first job. But I hate this mentality of just like, oh, I just wish I was a kid again, being able to chase animals in the backyard and, you know, dig up worms. Pretty much whatever that MGMT song said. No, it's much cooler to be an adult. You can drive to Las Vegas and see comedians. You can drive to New York. You can get on a plane and fly anywhere you want in the entire world. You can't do that as a kid. But for whatever reason, more and more commonly, adults are pretending that they're still kids. And I hate that. And the thing that clued me in first was when I was in college. I was in this film organization, the student film club. And there was meetings every week, and I would go to them. And there was probably 50 other people in this group. And for one event we were going to do was going to have like a movie night. We were going to sit outside someone's apartment, someone's dorm, set up a projector and watch a movie. And we were all college kids, 18 to 22. And there was a couple movies that they had listed saying, okay, what do you want to vote for? Let's see what movie we're going to watch. And it was Prisoners, Pulp Fiction, and How to Train Your Dragon 2. And I've seen Pulp Fiction, and I hadn't seen Prisoners. So I was like, well, of course it's going to come down to those two. Prisoners is cool. I haven't seen it. I've seen clips from it. I'm excited. I want to see that scene where Hugh Jackman's like, where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? You know what I mean? Great. Everyone's seen that where you're smashing the sink with Paul Dano right next to him. But surprisingly, you know what movie won? How to Train Your Dragon 2. Because for whatever reason now, every college kid, at least, I'll be nice. Let's just say the kinds of college kids that are interested in film are also nerds and losers. and 6-year-olds at heart. So they all had to just do this thing of like, oh, How to Train Your Dragon 2, that movie rules. That movie was my childhood. You know what was my childhood? Having my mom wipe my ass. I don't need her to do that again just so I can go, wow, how nostalgic. You need to grow up. How to Train Your Dragon 2. First of all, I've never seen it because I was 11 when it came out, so that's a little too old for me. The last Disney movie I watched was Frozen. You know why? Because that's the last time I was young enough to see a G movie. I turned 13 and all of a sudden I went, okay, I'm done with the kids ones. Thank you very much. No, I haven't seen Frozen 2. I haven't seen The Incredibles 2. I haven't seen Moana. I know friends of mine that get along with me on every other aspect of life that have downloaded the Moana soundtrack and know all the words. Men, by the way, are you kidding me? That movie came out when you were 18. What are you doing? And if you're watching this and you're one of these people, this isn't an argument, by the way. You are in the wrong. Now, you're allowed to do this. It's not illegal. You're allowed to do this, but just know, yes, you're a loser if you're in love with kid movies. And there should be no question. It shouldn't even come down to a vote. Hey, what movie should a bunch of college kids who are finally out on their own, not under the reign of their parents, who are able to get alcohol if they wanted to, be able to do whatever they want. This is when we're finally on our own. What should we do to represent that we're finally alone and being able to make our own decisions? Let's watch How to Train Your Dragon 2. Oh, really? Is Tom's mom going to come over and give us all Capri Suns and make us popcorn and give us back massages? Please, let's get over this whole thing of like, dude, Shrek. Shrek is like the best movie ever. Shrek is so funny. No, it's not. It was funny when you were 6. And yeah, he says ass, and there's a bunch of secret subliminal jokes that you only get if you're an adult, like when he goes up to Lord Farquaad's castle. I'm not mad I even remember that guy's name. And he goes, maybe he's compensating for something. And that tricks 20-year-olds that are in love with Shrek into going, no, it's actually for adults because he makes like a penis joke. Yeah, it's actually not for adults. It's rated G. It's for kids. If it was for adults, it'd be called Superbad and it'd be rated R. That's a movie that's for adults. Don't be tricked just because there's like parent jokes in the movie to go, no, it's actually like super mature. I mean, you have to be really smart to even get all the levels of like Shrek. No, you don't. You have to be 3 to be entertained by it. And if you're older than that, sitting and choosing to watch Shrek or Shrek 2 or Shrek the Third or Shrek Forever After, you're an idiot. And if you're going to see Puss in Boots 2 in the theater or Inside Out 2 in the theater, you are a loser. And you go there and you go, there were so many kids in the theater, I couldn't even focus on the movie because they were all yelling. That should clue you in that you are going out of your way to see a kid's movie. And just because Pixar movies have adult themes in them, that doesn't mean they're for adults. That's just so that the people who have kids can go to the theater to entertain their kids, and they're not suicidal by the time the movie ends. It's just a little trick that Pixar does to get parents to not hate Pixar movies. You are not a parent. You should not be going to see Inside Out 2. But there's these movies like Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon, The Incredibles, Kung Fu Panda that 20-year-olds watch. And I say 20-year-olds because I was around these people in college when I was 20. I'm 23 now. I'm way too old to even be hanging out with 20-year-olds. But I remember these 20-year-olds who were like, Kung Fu Panda's hilarious. Hey, do you have it on DVD? Can I borrow it? I don't have it on DVD. My little cousin who's 6 years old does. And if you want it, yes, I can get it. But you should be ashamed of yourself when you give it back to me. You should watch it and go, what am I doing with my life? There's no boobs in this movie. There's no F words in this movie. I need to see someone get their head cut off. And people are like, dude, animated movies get snubbed at the Oscars every year. There shouldn't even be an animated category. They should be treated like real movies. No, they shouldn't. Animated movies should be treated like what they are, for children. And just because, oh, dude, Family Guy's animated, Simpsons is animated, South Park's animated, The Boys is not animated. What's the other one? Invincible's animated. There's these anime shows that are animated and they have adult themes and they show blood. Big whoop. Those are for losers. And just because Family Guy says dirty jokes doesn't mean that cartoons aren't for kids. It means they took a kid thing and put dirty jokes in it because it's ironic and funny and unexpected. And Family Guy's a great show, whatever. I'm not saying that's for kids. I'm just saying the reason it's funnier is because the way South Park's funny, like, oh, it's just a bunch of kids saying these bad things. You know what I mean? It's not because it's... Don't be tricked into thinking animated movies are not for children. That is absolutely what they're for. which is fine. I love when I was a kid. I'm not going to say I love kids. That would be taken out of context. I liked being a kid. I liked being able to watch Cars and Toy Story. I loved Toy Story growing up. I was obsessed with Toy Story growing up. You know when I stopped being obsessed with Toy Story? When I first heard a movie that said the F word. And then I went, all right, I can handle this. And then I watched Superbad and Pineapple Express and all these offensive movies that say dirty language. And then I realized, oh, Toy Story? Oh, you mean the one where Andy's in love with toys and Buzz Lightyear is Mrs. Fiddlesticks and has a tea party? A little too old for me, thank you very much. And just because Sid takes who's the coolest character in Toy Story? Sid. Because he's breaking them apart and saying, yeah, these are for little kids. I'm an adult. I'm going to start lighting them on fire. Sid was cool. Sid got it. Live action movies don't count with this whole thing, by the way. I still like watching Good Burger. I still like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. You know why? I don't know. I don't think it's just because I'm a hypocrite. There's something about these movies that are actually funny and for any sort of audience. Animated movies do count because there's no way you can trick me into going, How to Train Your Dragon is actually for adults. What else do I have here? Another thing that adults do that is very childlike is they collect Legos. And Lego has tricked adults into buying adult Lego sets. Like you can buy, it's actually the Empire State Building. It's pretty much for adults only. If you're playing with Legos, you're a kid. You're a loser. Funko Pops. If anyone collects Funko Pops, you're an idiot. And if you're younger than 15 years old, you should be shot in the head. I bought Funko Pops. You know when? When I was 14 years old. You know when I stopped? On my 15th birthday. Do you know why? Because that's when I realized they were for kids. Hot Wheels. If you're collecting Hot Wheels, you're dumb. WWE. If you like professional wrestling and reference it and you're older than 23 years old, you should be euthanized, in my opinion. I don't like these things. And these are just a handful of things that adults nowadays are doing that are tricking themselves. I think another thing they're doing is not having kids. I don't think everyone should have kids. But I think a reason a lot of young adults are not having kids now is to keep this whole imagination, this whole illusion thing going of like not wanting to be an adult. You're a loser. And I saw this come up a couple times on my Instagram with like personal friends of mine that were like, I couldn't imagine having kids right now. I just want to live my own life. And it's like, yeah, I understand that. You're tricking yourself into thinking that if you were 38 with no kids and you never left your house, that you would be a loser, which is true. But if you're 38 with kids and never left your house, you're not a loser because you have kids and they have their own lives. And it's one of the most, it's literally the most miraculous thing any of us can do. Make a child with our bodies between, you and your wife or you and your husband or whatever, they make a kid. That's cool. That's a lot cooler than being able to make a peach cobbler or go to Disneyland when you're 26 by yourself. That's cooler than having a kid. Not true. Having kids is one of the coolest things you can do. This is not me saying I don't have kids. This is not me saying that everyone should have kids. But bashing the idea of having kids because, I have my own life to live is like, yeah, do that when you're 25. But if you're 32 and still are just like, no, I'm not having kids. That way I'd be able to go to the bar whenever I want. If I had kids, I would have to put them to bed. You're tricking yourself into thinking that you hate other people's kids, so you would hate your own kids, which is not true. When you go to the grocery store and you hear another kid cry, yeah, you're annoyed. And I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed when I go on a plane and a baby cries. Actually, that's not true. Babies cry. What are they supposed to do? You know what I mean? If a baby cries on a plane, I understand why it would bother you. But also, like, what's the mom supposed to do? Drown the kid? But look, for the sake of the argument, let's just say you get annoyed at kids. Of course you get annoyed at kids. They're not your kids. But don't trick yourself into thinking that you hate kids. You hate other people's kids. That doesn't mean you'll hate your own kids. And if the reason you're not doing this is because you want to be able to hike Europe, you can hike Europe right now. It only takes 9 months to have a kid. Give it 2 years, go hike Europe, come back, have the kid, start your actual life now. The reason, and I'm not trying to do this whole traditional Catholic thing of you better have kids, that's the whole point of life, although I think it is, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I think The reason these are able to be picked apart so easily is because they're just excuses. I think the biggest reason young adults or whatever, 30-year-olds aren't having kids is because of this infantilization of wanting to arrest their development. They want to continually just pretend they're still 9 years old and can have their mom buy them toys. And if they actually had a child, it would break that whole illusion. It would shatter this whole idea of like, no, I still can just do whatever I want, man. I can sleep in and have ice cream, and if I had kids, that'd all go away. Yeah, probably for good reason, because you're 30. Could you imagine if your dad played video games and you wanted to play catch with him and he was like, no, I got one more level, son? I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine my grandfather doing that. Could you imagine your grandfather doing that? And don't go, well, that's their loss. My grandfather didn't have the luxury of having a PS5. He has it now. Why doesn't he play it? Because he realizes that that's stupid. Everyone got tricked in the last 20 years into thinking it's cool to like cartoons and play video games. It's not. It's not. So if having kids isn't for you, that's fine. But don't trick yourself into thinking that the alternative of not having kids, playing video games and buying Hot Wheels and collecting Funko Pops, is actually cooler than being an actual adult for once. You're tricking yourself. You're lying to yourself. And all these examples all lead back to the same thing, which is why I think Shrek is ruining America.
You're the most evil person in Gotham right now, and you are scared of cookies and Blue's Clues. Don't forget Adam Sandler. So much Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah.
I found something. I was on Instagram the other day and I was scrolling through Reels, and admittedly, something caught my eye, a woman revealing some cleavage, and I had to go back and check if what I saw was actually what I saw. Maybe she would teach me something, maybe not. She didn't. But it was this girl right here, Sophia Kate _X on Instagram. You can go ahead and follow her. It's 108,000 followers. She shows some revealing things in her videos, but I noticed something while I was scrolling through her page, trying to decide whether or not to DM her that I'd like to get engaged. That rhymed. Maybe you can't tell it in the pictures, but I'll scroll through a couple just to see if you notice what I saw. This is her, Sophia. She's a law student, supposedly. That's what it says in her bio, at least 108,000 followers. Do you notice anything yet? Something a little weird, something a little off? I kind of like her outfit here, though. If we went out on a double date, this is what I would wear, and this is what she would wear, and we would match. That's what we could wear on the Hollywood red carpet. Just kidding. I don't like this girl. You know why? Because this is not her face. Look at that. It's a little easier to tell in a video. Do the dead eyes give it away, anybody? That she's an AI deepfake model? I don't actually know if it's AI. I think this is a real girl's body. This is not this girl's face. Look, you can see it flickering on her head. Right? Do you notice that? Do you see it? Oh, right there. It disconnected. Can you guys tell? Am I zoomed in too far? Sorry. Let's watch this again. Let's see. Let's see the stuff come off her head. Do you see it flickering? Look at the filter trying to stay on her face. This is a lie. You're being lied to. I was joking earlier about following her. If you follow this woman, you are a complete moron. You're the guy in the last video that I was talking about how stupid you are. Imagine that you're this guy right here, Boris Alvarez, commenting, "Hello, Sophia, how are you? My name is Caesar. I just have to tell you with respect that I'm in love with you. You are so precious. I would love to hear from you sometime if possible. Have a beautiful day and days to come." Hang on, let me get these comments a little better. Some other guy says, "Looking amazing, hun. Hi, beautiful." I think this comment right here might be some guy saying, "This is fake." Some guy says, "Junk, thank you." "Absolutely magnificent. When you've had the vision for the perfect set of pillows and you actually get to see it IRL." Who's this? Higsley. Oh, his account's private, but he's from Washington. Let's see. This guy. Seems like a loser to me. This is obviously a picture from the 90s. I'm assuming this is him. He's a Reba picture in the background. I don't know who this woman is. Let's say this guy's at least 40 years old. Your 40-year-old uncle is commenting on random girls' OnlyFans Instagrams, and they're not even real girls. He doesn't realize, after 40 years in his life, what's real and what's not. Maybe it's because of exactly what I was talking about. He's so used to watching cartoons that when he sees a real girl with a cartoon face, it doesn't even faze him. That's real life to him. This girl has an OnlyFans. I'm not going to pull it up for you, but I clicked on the link, and she has 54,000 likes over all of her pictures and videos. So let's just assume she has 5,000 followers, or even 1,000 followers. The cheapest that her OnlyFans is being sold for is $3.50 a month. So at the very least, this person's raking in about $3,000. At the very least, $3,000 a month just to show off her body and fake face. Because some idiot, and no, this is not me going, oh my God, women that sell OnlyFans videos need to be put to shame. Whatever. Let's not even talk about that. The problem with OnlyFans is the fans. The problem that if my daughter was to grow up and do OnlyFans, it wouldn't be because, oh, you're a slut. It's because, hey, you're attracting 10,000 of the lowest men. You know how women always say, oh, I'd rather be with a bear than a man. But then they also go, oh, I'm going to sell my body on OnlyFans for the worst, literally the worst men in the country. That doesn't seem crazy to you? Look, we're on the same page that men are scum. Not all men are scum, but you know, that are more scum is the shittiest men of all the men. The worst ones are going to be the scummiest, the ones that go out of their way to pay to see models show off their boobs. Those are like the worst of the men. In terms of how they would treat women, they just see them as sex objects. You think just rich guys see women as sex objects. No, the guys that are paying to just see you get naked and only see you as a pair of pillows, those are the ones that treat you like an object, and you're selling them stuff. So yeah, you're making your money, but you're making it off of the creepiest, weirdest guys in the country. That's the problem. It's not just because, oh, you're showing your breasts on Instagram. That's indecent. That's disgusting. You should be ashamed. It's because, hey, I'd rather not have my daughter getting an audience of 10,000 men obsessed with her and making them think that they can just have sex with her as they please. Because that's going to get you into trouble. Anyway, there's other girls like this, though. This girl is Zoe Moore. She's on Instagram, and she, I think, has an AI face as well. But do you notice anything about this girl, Zoe? I don't know. Maybe her gigantic tits? This girl's Zoe Moore on Instagram. She also has another account. It's the exact same girl. But this one's called Queen Mommy Milkers. Anybody notice that these are drawn on? This was probably like a DeviantArt Fiverr purchase to say, hey, make my boobs big. Everybody's commenting on this like they don't realize it's fake, saying, always choose melons over lemons, except for limoncello, then choose lemons. Shut up. When DNA gives you lemons, oh, never mind. Absolutely stunning. These guys aren't realizing these are fake. How does no one realize that these are fake? I don't even mind showing them on YouTube because they're just drawings. And they're covered up. But sorry, I didn't mean to zoom in on this. Another girl doing the same thing. Look, let's just say this is this girl's face. This is not this girl's chest, though. Come on. You guys see this? Gigantic boobs. Not true. Not her real chest. You know what she did? She Googled prosthetic chest big breasts, as did I. And she found a couple links. Like on Amazon, you can find this. Right? And on Etsy or Alibaba, you can find this. This is only $52 for this chest piece. $52 to have big, huge boobs. Another one on Alibaba, $150 to have gigantic boobs. And on Etsy, even if you're a man with abs, you can buy this for $300 or whatever it said. Yeah, $300. Imagine your brother coming home wearing these. Imagine your sister coming home wearing those and saying, I'm making $17,000 a week on OnlyFans because I'm tricking a bunch of mentally ill idiots, the lowest of the low men, into thinking that I want to have sex with them. That's what you're doing, and that's what you're falling for, men. And this is the idiots of the country who grew up without parents telling them what and what not to like, and without anyone making fun of them for liking Shrek and liking How to Train Your Dragon, and being tricked into thinking that when they see a girl with big boobs on Instagram that she probably likes you, and she's not lying to you, you know. What rude woman would ever lie to you? That's not going to happen. Happens all the time. These women are making tens of thousands of dollars by lying to you and creating OnlyFans accounts and scamming you. So please don't fall for this. I could do this if I wanted. I could buy this fake chest piece. I could put on a fake face and pretend that I'm a girl with huge boobs and a nice face and just say I'm a law student. I get $200,000 or 200,000 Instagram followers and a bunch of random guys commenting on my page saying, "Babe, I'd love to hang out with you." And I would just sit back and laugh and go, "Ha ha ha. I can't believe these idiots think I take them seriously. All I know is they're paying me 20 grand a month to keep pretending to have big boobs. Thanks a lot, sir." So anyway, I think this is weird. I think it's a weird pattern that's going on. And no, this isn't me saying that women shouldn't be allowed to do OnlyFans, although personally, not my bag. I'm not going to make it into law, but the reason people don't like it is because clearly these guys commenting on the pictures are idiots, and those are the people you're attracting. We don't like that, ladies. So please be careful, because the people you're pulling off these scams with, yeah, you're making a lot of money, but you're making a lot of stupid, fat idiots very mad at you when they realize, oh, she hates me. I'm going to go kill her now. Don't do that. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Make money like a regular lady. Become a chef. Become an actress. You don't need to trick people into making money. That's what you should be ashamed of. Okay, without further ado, Mr. Colin Blair. Hello?
We're here with Mr. Colin Blair.
Please welcome our pal Colin. Please welcome Colin.
Colin. I'm here with Colin. Hello, honey.
I was always going to talk movies with Colin.
I better brush my teeth. Colin's here.
To this day, I still have a good relationship with Colin.
Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Colin.
Congrats on your engagement to Colin.
Here with an editorial, my good friend Colin.
Hey, Joseph, it's Colin.
Oh, my cousin.
Oh, Colin's on the show. Oh, I better freshen up. Colin's here. Oh,
one of the greatest, nicest, best ever.
So yeah, just wanted to rub that in first. And then, well, welcome, Colin. Thank you, of course, for joining. I think this is episode 19.
Yep.
I mean, at this point, we're 45 minutes into the episode, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But I'm a little off. I mentioned before we recorded that I didn't get any sleep last night, but I guess I'll tell the audience. I as I've said before, I recently quit my job, so I currently have nothing to do to keep me busy. So yesterday I just sat on my computer all day. I cleaned my room for a little bit, I vacuumed, and then that was the most active I got all day. And then I just sat behind my desk and just was watching videos and screwing around. So by the time it was ready to go to time to go to bed, I wasn't like, oh, jeez. I was just like wide awake. I haven't done anything all day, so I couldn't sleep, and I had no reason to be up early. So I kind of just let that snowball. So I was up till I think 5:30. I could hear I forgot yesterday was trash night, and it was 2 a.m. I was like, shit, I forgot to take the trash out. Whatever. I'll just do it next week. And then, there wasn't enough powder. We do trash is every week, but recycling is every other week, and yesterday was recycling, but I was like, well, there's not even anything in the bin, so whatever. If we have to put it off for another 2 weeks, who cares? And then, around 4:30, I was just like, all right, I clearly have nothing better to do, so I took the trash out, and then about an hour later, I could hear the trash truck come by. I'm like, well, there we go. So once I heard the trash trucks coming around, I was like, okay, it's probably time to go to bed. And then I finally was able to get some shut-eye.
Oh, so you did fall asleep.
Finally, yeah. I finally fell asleep right around 5:30 or 6, but now I got a nice cup of Joe here.
And when did you wake up?
11.
All right.
But for some reason, I'm if I got 6 hours of sleep any other day, I'd feel like I'd be pissed off, but now it's I slept in till 11, so I'm like, oof, wow, I got a good night's rest last night. It's like, no, you didn't. But I guess I spent all day yesterday resting, so I really have nothing to be recovering from. Anyway, what about you? How's your sleeping going?
Not bad. I probably get 6 also. It's my normal.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not fun, yeah.
I worked on the weekends, so I had to be up at 5:30. And those days, I mean, I tried to go to bed. I would usually be in bed I'd be in bed at 8:30, but I wouldn't go to bed till 10. So I guess that's 7 hours. That's not bad, but it would just throw me off. Being up that early and being awake for that long just threw me off. But luckily, it was only a couple days out of the week, 3 days out of the week, so it wasn't terrible. But yeah, I enjoy my sleep. I was talking to my mom about this the other day. I'm not gonna. It's hard to keep myself in a routine. On the weekends, I would wake up at 5:30, but on my days off, I'd sleep until 10. And my mom's like, well, that's a bad schedule. Get yourself out of that schedule. But I'm like, well, if I need to sleep and I got no reason to be up, I'm not going to set an alarm? Like, what would be the point of that? I'd rather just sleep in and kind of throw myself off kilter than purposely wake myself up.
Yeah.
I'm not buying into this whole, everyone needs 8 hours of sleep. You know, like, isn't everybody different? Everybody's body is different. So it's like, is it a possibility that some people need 10 hours of sleep and other people can get off with 6? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe I'm just one of those people that needs 10 hours of sleep. I'm certainly not a morning person, but that could very well just be because, you're not a morning guy. It's like, well, everyone would be a morning guy if we all got as much sleep as we needed. It's not like when I get 10 hours of sleep but wake up at 6 in the morning, I'm like, shit, hate waking up. I'm like, if I got a good enough sleep, I'm like, hey, I feel great. I feel good.
Yeah.
So, I think science should look into that.
I don't think I don't know the last time I've gotten 8 hours of sleep, but I think it's more like the cycles, if you've ever heard that. Like, once you finish a certain cycle and then you wake up after that, like that determines how you feel the next day. So I think it's more about that than hours slept.
Are you talking about like the 90-minute philosophy? Like sleep is broken into like 90 minutes, or like
something like that? Yeah,
REM and all that.
I don't know. I don't know specifics. I just kind of remember hearing something like that. Like it's based on.
So you just are talking out of your ass.
I'm just that's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm just kidding. No, I've heard that. I've heard that too. I used to try to follow that. Like if I had school the next morning or whatever, I'd be like, well, I missed that 90-minute window. I have to be up at 7, so I should have gone to bed at 12:30 or whatever. I'm making that number up. So I guess I might as well just stay up for another 90 minutes, and then I can get some good sleep. So that's kind of a curse in its own right. Anyway, enough about sleeping. Colin and I have prepared a few would you rathers. Isn't that right, Colin?
That's right.
Well, great. I think we should say this, I guess. From the last time, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know which ones you've come up with, but I've tried to be very practical with mine. Like, for example, last time it was like, okay, would you rather cut your arm or your leg off? It's like, you're allowed to get a prosthetic. You know, I don't want to do the rules of like, would you rather cut off your arm or your leg? And by the way, you can't ever get it fixed. It's like, I would treat these like if someone came up and cut your hand off, and then you would do everything a normal person would do in that situation, get a prosthetic and go to the doctor and blah, blah, blah. So some of these are like, there's a gun to your head, you have to pick one. But once you pick it, you can do anything you want to make it more convenient. You know what I mean? I'm not going to throw in 100 more rules to make it like, hey, you can't go to sleep on Friday. And that means literally after midnight and da-da-da. You can't do this and no sleeping pills and all these.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yep.
All right. We had a lot of comments on the last video saying these guys suck. So let's just so we're trying to appease the fans here. But I'll let you start, and hopefully everything I said doesn't confuse whatever you came up with.
No. Okay. So here's what I've got. Option 1. Every time you get in the car and drive, there will be a spider in the car somewhere, but you don't know where.
Okay.
So that is option 1. Option 2. Every time you pee, you need to pull your pants and underwear all the way down to your ankles.
Okay. Now here's where I come in. Maybe this is autistic or something like that, but like, so I'm allowed to kill the spider though, right?
Sure, but the next time you get in the car, there's going to be another one.
Okay, that's fair. And then, now could I do this as a trick with the pee one? Could I go pee, like, if I sit down to pee, or I don't do that often, but take a poop, I could pull my pants the whole way down to my ankles. Like, could I go into the stall just to pee and trick people into thinking that I'm pooping?
No, this is where
you have to be at the urinal.
No, you need to. For me, you got to stay true to the spirit of this option. You cannot go into the stall and pee sitting down. You need to pee.
So the caveat is you have to go to the urinal. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Every time you pee at a urinal, you must pull your pants the whole way down.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to do the urinal one because that one doesn't harm anybody and it's funny. The spider thing could get me killed if I'm driving on the highway and all of a sudden there's a tarantula on my crotch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I punch myself in the penis.
Yep. And I should say a small spider. So it's not going to be anything giant. It's just going to be like you'll have that in the back of your mind the whole time that there's a spider in here somewhere, and I could see it at any second.
Okay, there's a spider. I think I'm still gonna. Yeah, I don't like spiders. I don't want to have to think about them while I drive. I would rather do the pants thing, and that's just funny. Unless there's someone that's trying to like spank me, then it's like.
I couldn't agree more with you. I would go with the pants thing, 100%.
I do that now, actually. So
yeah, that doesn't change anything about my daily life. Actually,
yeah, how do you do it? Well, great. Okay, cool. We agree.
Yep.
All right. Mine is: would you rather, for the rest of your life, anytime you have to pay for anything, use $1 bills? And this doesn't count like Spotify subscriptions or whatever that you can use a credit card. But anytime you're at the store, you can't use a credit card. Like if you're in person, you have to pay. Even a car, you have to pay for with $1 bills, or boo for the entirety anytime you hear the Star Spangled Banner.
Wow, that's a really good one.
I'm trying to make these different enough that it's like, yeah, they're both inconveniences. What would I really rather do?
I think I would do the dollar bill one. Mostly, I think because the booing during the Star Spangled Banner, like I could get beat up. I would assume I would get beat up at some type of event at some point for doing that.
At that Phillies game, the Patriots are all going to gather around, and you're like, "No, don't worry, I paid with this with a credit card." Yeah,
and I hate that so much. I would annoy the cashier or whoever, but I'm fine with that over potentially dying over some extremely patriotic person coming to kill me for it.
That's what I try to go for. I'm like, or sorry.
No, I was just going to say I would go with the dollar bills for sure.
Yeah, I think the dollar bills would come up more. So it's like, okay, I kind of want to pick the Star Spangled Banner because I wouldn't have to do it as often, but that's a worse thing to do than pay with dollar bills. I think I would do the dollar bills. And in this scenario, you're allowed to go, "This was a dare. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
Okay.
But maybe actually, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Now I think about it. Well, I don't know, because people would still beat you up. I think in that anger, even if you were allowed to say this was a dare, they would still be like, "Dare this, be honest." You know?
Yeah, I don't think they would. I don't think the patriotic people in that case would care if I was saying it's just a dare, though.
No, I'm just making fun of you. It's a joke. It's a joke. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I would go with the dollar bills as well. You make a good point.
All right, we're two for two on agreement.
2 for 2.
All right, you ready for mine? My second one.
I can't wait.
Okay, option 1: once a year, on a day you will not know, there will be a snake in your toilet. And you find out, you don't find out by walking in and looking with your eyes. Like, you need to sit down, you're going to hear the hiss, stand up, and then that's how you will find out. And not a little baby snake. It's going to be like a good medium-sized snake in your toilet.
Right.
Okay. Option 2.
He sees my poop and thinks it's his friend.
Option 2: every funeral you go to, when you go up to the family that's greeting people, you need to tell them to stop crying and get over it.
Oh my God, that's a very good one. Like both of these together, because I was ready to pick whatever you said after the snake. Like, I thought the spider in the car was bad. I honestly am going to have to go with the funeral. Like, I think there's a way I could play that off. I would rather do that than get bit on the balls with the snake. Now, with this, I mean, this is where we're getting into God or whatever, the universe. But, like, are we assuming if I leave the snake untreated that it's going to bite me on the balls, or what? Like, the snake will hurt me. Because if I know it won't, then I can deal with a snake in the toilet. But I'm assuming that the snake will try to crawl up my leg.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it'll act as a snake would if it were in your toilet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would go with the funeral. I mean, as terrible as that is, I could deal with that And I have, at least in my young, spry age, I have only been to a couple funerals, and I think I'd rather do. Hang on. I don't go to funerals more than once a year. So I know the snake thing as of now for the next 50 years of my life. I'm going to be dealing with the snake thing more often. I'd rather deal with the funerals because even by the end of my life, when I'm going to more, I'll be 80, and that'll be kind of funny if I go up to a family. I'm like,
that's a good point.
He was asking for it. You know what I mean? Who plays soccer in the highway?
Well, I will say I had no idea which one I would pick. I was just going to listen to your reasoning and see, and I think you're exactly right. I would go with the funeral in this case.
That is a good one, though. That is a good... I thought the booing during the national anthem was bad. I mean, I'd rather boo during the national anthem than tell a family to get over it. I would just stop going to football games. Yeah, Harrison couldn't make it to your funeral because he had a hard time not making fun of your dead son.
And I also just wouldn't want the anxiety of not knowing what day it's going to be. Like, I just don't want to deal with that anxiety.
Yeah, at least when someone dies, you only have like a week to stress, like, how am I going to pull off this evil thing? And then after a couple, like, of course, the first time you go to a funeral, someone would be upset, but after like 15 times, word will spread that that's kind of your thing, and then it's like, you gotta be ready for it.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Right.
I only have one.
We agree.
And we agree. So 3 for 3.
Yep.
I only have... Oh, wait, no, I have 2 more. What am I saying?
Yeah.
This is my second one. Would you rather trade your iPhone in for a flip phone, and you're still allowed to use social media, but you have to do it on the computer? But, like, your texts and calls all come through a flip phone, or lose air conditioning and heat forever. Like, in your personal house. If you go in a restaurant, there's air conditioning, but anywhere you specifically live... or your office, or like your particular cubicle doesn't get air conditioning or heat.
Well, I didn't have air conditioning like a few weeks ago, and it was horrible. So
welcome to my life.
I know you go through the same thing. But I think I would go with the phone. I could live, especially if I can get on the computer. Like, to check Twitter and stuff. But yeah, I would go with the phone, especially like as I get older, it'll slowly matter less and less what kind of phone I have.
Right.
And
we'll see. I mean, in this growing industry, this growing day and age, maybe you'll become more and more connected to this device we all call a phone.
Maybe. Got to think about that. You're right.
but air conditioning is going to stay the same, and I think that'll be universally a better choice.
Yeah, I would much rather just I'd go with the flip phone. As our uncle would say, if a flip phone is good enough for Captain Kirk, it's good enough for me.
Now, unfortunately for the audience here, there's not a lot of drama between our choices, but yet again, I agree with you. I've gone the last summer without having control over my own air conditioning. And it's the worst thing in my life. So,
it is the worst.
I would rather trade it in for a flip phone. The only thing I'm losing is Snapchat. I think that's the only thing you can't do online, and that's for kids. So, or yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when like I lost my AC in the summer, and like there were nights I couldn't sleep. I would drive to my parents' house and sleep, and I don't want to go through that. Like yeah. Like
I know. Like I guess I could get used to cold showers, or I could move to a better area. But if it's what I've been going through for the last 3 months, nothing is worth it. I would rather pay, and it's a cheaper bill. It's like a $6 phone, so you're saving money too.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, look at that. We are in perfect alignment.
Well, let's see. We got a couple more here.
Okay.
That could all change on an instant. In an instant.
All right, here we go. Option one. These are the first two that are kind of related, actually.
All right.
Like they go together. Option one. Every song you listen to from now on will be in Seth Rogen's voice.
Oh. That was kind of a Seth Rogen impression. I can't do it.
Option two. Every movie or show you have ever seen and will see will now be starring Jesse Eisenberg. in full Jesse Eisenberg effect. Like, it's not just going to be him saying the lines as they normally are. Like, he's going to be Jesse Eisenberg. Like, what his presence usually is.
I'm trying to even think of a Jesse Eisenberg impression. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm going to go right off the rip. I'm picking Jesse Eisenberg. I like music too much.
Mm-hmm.
I like movies too, but I could get into it. I think I would hate Seth Rogen with every single song.
I think I would agree, but you have to think about this. In every movie, the music is going to be Seth Rogen's voice. Because that'll come into play. If you pick the Seth Rogen option,
you're right.
So the songs in the movies will now have Seth Rogen's voice in them. So it bleeds in. Not that would change your answer, but because I would agree. I would pick the...
No, that's an interesting...
Oh, yeah, I guess... Well, you didn't pick that one. But that's one to think about with the
But
Seth
for the
Rogen,
people at home, the people at home playing have to keep that in mind.
Right. But I would agree. I would go with the Jesse Eisenberg. Even though, like... But you're right. Like, I wouldn't be able to stand listening to music.
Yeah. That's too important to me when I'm listening to my Taylor Swift songs and all of a sudden it's...
This one isn't even that hard. But, I mean...
Well, it is. It's a good one because I think part of it, too, is I haven't watched a movie in like 6 months, but I listen to music every day.
Yeah.
So if I was watching movies as often as I was listening to music, then it would be a little more difficult. And I certainly don't like the idea of watching Jesse Eisenberg movies, or like in place of Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine. But I could put up with a 2-hour chunk of Jesse Eisenberg as opposed to 2 minutes at a time having to listen to Seth Rogen do a cover of, The Last Dinner Party, and now all of a sudden he's a Pavement, and now all of a sudden he's doing Back in Black, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna kill myself. I can't listen to music anymore. Like, I would just not listen. I wouldn't be able to listen to music.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. We agreed on all of mine.
Yeah. Nicely done. Yeah. Jesse Eisenberg's cool. I would just watch The Social Network over and over and just be like, I can get with this. The last one I have, these are not connected at all. And this one's kind of weird, but I don't know. I'll just say it. Not any more weird than anything else. I don't know why I said that. Would you rather you have to shave your head bald and wear a wig, or stand up to poop?
That's good. That's a good one. I have to think.
One's public humiliation, one's private, private affair. There's a splash factor with standing up to poop, but the shaved head, everyone would be like, and you could get a good toupee. I mean, if you can, or you could get a good wig. You don't have. It doesn't have to be a stupid Halloween wig.
So in these, like, I could pay a lot of money for a very good wig to make it like you cannot even notice to that.
Right.
Or are you saying people will notice I'm wearing a wig?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if you decided to pay the thousands of dollars to get a nice toupee, you could do that. Or you could do a cheap wig and people will look at you funny.
This is extremely difficult.
But you have to shave your head bald and cover it up somehow. How you do that is up to you. If you want to make it a conversation piece, you could get a fake mohawk from Party City.
I think I'm gonna go with the standing up to poop. in this case, I don't know. I can't. I'm torn here.
I know it's a tough one, and it's funny too because I've never tried to stand up to poop, so there's not even like anything in my head to be like, oh, I could do that. Like, it might be the hardest thing in the world to do. It sounds easy, but is it? Is there more of a mess when your cheeks are stuck, like pushed together when you're standing?
That's the thing. Like, regardless of how hard it is, like, it's private, so it doesn't affect anyone else. If it's hard, I'll figure it out on my own, and I'll get used to, or I'll come up with a good method to make it easier over time.
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Maybe you'll.
Maybe it'll just be torture forever doing that. I don't. This is impossible.
You might get all over your legs. Not to be graphic here, but yeah, you'd have to take your pants completely off and probably straddle like both of your feet have to go on either side of the toilet. Now your pants are the whole way off. I mean, that's That's something to think
Okay,
about.
I'm gonna
for
switch.
sure.
I'm gonna switch. Going with the wig. Because I think I would just spend the money for a very good wig and make it as real as possible. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean they exist. I'm nervous because I was doing what you were doing, where I was gonna kind of just hear you out and think it over, but I'm still stuck. Like the privacy of the poop makes it seem like, okay, I could do that, and whatever hassle is worth it because I'm alone. But like I said, like now there's a whole you're introducing a whole new way to go to the bathroom that you've had 23, 24 years now to get used to how to go to the bathroom, and now all of a sudden you're changing it up. Like you're gonna get it all over your legs. It's gonna land on the floor some days. Like you're gonna get sick and have diarrhea and just hope to God you can aim. You know?
Yeah. Oh yes, the diarrhea factor. You have to think about that. You need to. That's an important piece.
The diarrhea factor is my favorite competition show with Simon Cowell.
That pushes me even more towards the wig now. The diarrhea factor.
Yeah, the wig. I think I could do the wig. Yeah, I think we had a clean sweep here, and
Yes, we did.
You said you had 4. Did you have an extra one? We can go on, but I think we
had
completely
3.
agreed on everything. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
good stuff.
Great.
That was a good. That last one. I mean, that's good. I'm still kind of torn. Like I'm not totally in on my end, but that's what I'm going with right now.
Yeah, at least when you're standing up and the stall and your head's peeking out, everyone thinks you got a cool head of hair on you. Yeah, stalls are not built to be standing up in. Everyone can see you.
Yeah,
that's
a funny thing to think about. Yeah, your head will always be peeking out a little bit. That's funny.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's tough. And I don't want to make a whole habit out of just making everything poop, ha ha ha, diarrhea. But it is just like that is a tough choice.
Yes, extremely tough. I'm gonna think about this for the rest of the day and probably switch my answer back and forth.
What Colin? You've hardly eaten your mashed potatoes. Yeah, I don't know if I want a wig or stand up to poop. Oh, please. And, no, I know how to come up with it. What can I say? No, just kidding.
Good. That's the perfect one to end on right there.
Well, everybody, thank you, of course, for joining. If you watched the whole thing and you have any difference of opinion, comment below. Of course, subscribe and like and share these videos or whatever and say, hey, these guys come up with some good would you rathers. They really make me think. It's not just ones, because you go on Google and you try to find a would you rather, and it's just like, oh, would you rather eat a homeless man's asshole or like, drink diarrhea for the rest of your life? And it's like, oh, yeah, I don't know. And then someone will be like, neither. We actually think about these in a real life scenario. What would you rather do? We put our thought into these. Thank you, Colin, of course, for joining. Thank you for coming up with some great ones. Luckily, we've agreed on all of them, although the last one's still kind of up in the air, and so would the poop be if you pick the standing up one. Thank you for joining, of course. And is there anything you'd like to say to the audience before we say our goodbyes?
No, I got nothing else. But
there you have it, everybody.
Again,
Colin's got nothing else. Oh, of course. Well, we'll be doing this again. This is our. This is the second time we played Would You Rather, so I think every time we can't come up with a story or something, this will be our fail-safe, like you said the other day, which is a good idea. So hopefully everyone at home likes these, and they'll only get better. Just as a last reminder, I think I said at the beginning of this episode, but after episode 21 of the Harrison Brinker Show, that's 2 weeks from now, that'll be the last episode of this season. And then Colin and I are taking a road trip across the country where I moved to Pennsylvania. So we're going to have a little bit of time off. Figure around a month, but it's kind of up in the air until I buy all the new equipment I need for the new studio for season 2 of the Harrison Brinker Show. But once it is finally back, it'll be better than you could even imagine. And Colin will be there for the whole thing. Behind the scenes and in front of the scenes and coming up with everything alongside with me. So, get ready for that, everybody. You got 2 weeks left of this green screen and whatever. The show as you know it, but it's only going to change for the best. So that's all I got. All right. See you later.
Yep. See you later.